What's up, guys? My name is Mad Squash 924. Welcome back to another episode of some Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, part 21, I believe. Now, you guys may be wondering why we're here at the main menu, and why the thumbnail changed, and now that you see the main menu, you probably are guessing why exactly I brought you here. It's because we are now past the arc where Darth Sion was the cover boy, and now it's Darth Nihilus. So, just wanted to show you that before we went into the game itself. And I think it triggers when we saw the Darth Nihilus cutscene in the end of the last episode. So, yeah. First things first. I want to show you guys what I did for upgrades for everybody's weapon race. I didn't do anything to mine. We already have pretty good stuff, so we left mine alone. Atton's, it's still relatively the same. The only difference is his massive criticals went from a 1d4 to a 1d8, which is pretty tasty. And his crits are going to become disgusting. Of course, he still crits on 17s, so we still have that. This is now T3M4's blaster. This 2 to 12, crits on 20s. There's an extra 1 through 8. And it has a -1 to defense, but it has a +3 to the attack modifier, so that's pretty handy. And we have some more dodge with it as well, apparently. And that's pretty handy, I think. Moving on, we have Kreia's and Baeodur's sword. I believe this one is Baeodur's and this one is Kreia's, I think. Yes? Yes, I believe so. So yeah, they do quite a bit more damage than they did before. They do 4 to 26, 5 to 30. This one crits on 19s, this one on 17s. Of course, we get the -2 modifier. Let me see here. There's one where... yeah, this one also gets it as well. But the whole trade for getting the -2 is we get another D10 worth of physical damage. And that's pretty worth it in itself, I believe. Because when we take a look at them through the item screen, you'll see why. I changed Atton's weapons, not his weapons, his armor a bit. So now this just gains a +2 to his defense. So now it's a defense bonus of +9, along with a max dexterity bonus of +7. And now he has regeneration in this suit as well. So it's just nice and handy. It's very good for him. Baeodur's, we gave him one that gives him a 25% energy defense. And then, well, immunity to energy for 25%, and then defense bonus of +. However, he loses 1 dexterity. However, that's not a big deal for him because he's not a dexterity-based individual, so we can really focus more on the defense and less on the dexterity bonus for him. And he also gets a +1 constitution and strength as well. For Kreia, we're still using the armor plating Mark II, which does that kind of stuff. However, we now have regeneration 3 instead of 2 for her. And that pretty much sums us up. We'll just take a little brief look at the screen. For me, didn't really change. For Atton, his defense was 31. Before I changed it, it was 20s, I believe. But yeah, he has this. He's got this, which increases his dex even further, which is kind of insane. I can't take a look at his dexterity now, but boy, I can just imagine what he can do. He has a +17 to hit, kind of insane. Still 1d12 for his initial damage, but he crits all the time, so it's gonna more than make up for it. Baeodur, he's gonna hit for 9 to 31, +12. If we switch that one thing out where it gave us the -2, so it could theoretically give us a +14, but it would do, I think, 8 to 21 instead of 9 to 31. So I think that's a good trade-off as well. He has this as well. This nice. He's probably got. I don't know. He's fine. He could be better. We're not gonna utilize him all the time, of course. And I did take the pheromone package off of Atton because it didn't really make sense to give him this, because it's just wasted stats that don't mean anything. Over on Kreia, she has the lowest defense, I believe, out of the bunch of us. Yes, she does. But she hits for 5 to 30. It's kind of crazy. +13 to hit. Yep, this is the crits one for 17s. She crits on. She's still immune to crits as well, which is nice. And then for T3, his defense is 22. We gave him this, which also gives him +1 to his dexterity, so that's awesome for him. Eventually, I'm planning on giving him 2 weapon fighting, I believe. So I put this down here for him in the meantime, so I don't accidentally sell it, because I might transfer that over here on his left-hand side. But we have the Droid Shock Arm, the Droid Ion Blast Mark 1, which is not the thing I'm really caring about. It's not a big deal. Of course, he can be leveled right now, but we can't actually level him on the ship. We'd actually have to leave the ship to do that. He also gets the Fortitude +2 and Constitution +1, as well as Regeneration 3, which he was using beforehand. And then there's this one, +2 to Dexterity. I might switch this one out. Don't know. We'll see. But that pretty much sums it up. Let's go talk to some people and companions, and then see what goes on then.
Hey, General. Are you alright?
I'm fine, I think. What's up?
You look like you've been standing too close to one of my shield generators.
You should speak for yourself.
Whoa. Claws out today, aren't they?
Ooh. I might have made him sad. Should I not have said that?
I didn't want to talk about the war, but can I ask you something?
Sure. What is it?
Why did you decide to fight?
Well, to be fair, the Jedi served no one with inaction, and they kind of had to be stopped in that retrospect. The Mandalorians, not the Jedi.
The war went poorly before Revan and the Jedi lent aid to the Republic. Many of us believed the Jedi to be cowards who were afraid to face the Mandalorian threat. I remembered when word of the Mandalorian attacks arrived on Iridonia. My people had colonies across the Outer Rim. Many of them were among the first systems to fall.
So you wanted revenge? Well, yeah, you wanted revenge?
Revenge, and to crush the Mandalorians, to send them back to wherever it was they came from. I did not join because I wanted to protect, though. I hated them. I wanted to destroy them, to give them the mercy they gave the people they conquered. I remember the thrill I felt when we fought them in battle. Victories were rare, but we celebrated every Mandalorian's death. Do you know how it felt?
I mean, I guess I felt it. The rush of life as Mandalorians were cut down before me, but I try not to think about those kinds of things.
It's always on my mind now. That loss of control blinded me, turned me into a weapon. I just needed to get that off my chest. Was there something you wanted me for?
What you doing? You're also kind of holding your side. Are you okay?
Just working on the ship.
Oh.
I'm not sure who got her up and running, but I'm amazed she's even space-worthy. Whoever made these repairs doesn't think like most mechanics. But don't worry, I'll get everything in shape.
I see. Sorry if you hear the dog in the background. She's fighting with a cat. She does that from time to time.
Yes, General?
Nothing. Let's go find T3. Hello. Why is everyone putting on their shields? Do you mind if I try to upgrade your memory core again? Okay, that's good. Just let me take a look at you. There we go. That should up your processor speed. Due to your computer skills, T3 has gained a +1 to his intelligence. Excuse me? What do you mean a blank look? I was just working on you this whole time. Never mind that. I have other questions. Do you want to do some routine maintenance as well? Okay, let me just take a look and hopefully I can make it quick for you. All done with the response package, so give it a spin. Due to your repair skills, T3's response systems have improved, giving him +1 to dexterity. No, I'm fine. I guess I just got caught up in my work. I have other questions. Maybe some advanced maintenance could be in order? Okay, well, lock your motivators and unlock the side panel and I'll get working. I've never heard that sound before. Well, I guess I'll try again later when I've trained a little bit more with my work. Okay, so yeah, that's what we need our repair up for. It's at 17. I think it said 21 was the correct term, correct? I think so. Let's see here. We can put the control cluster in HK. I think we need 2 more pieces for him. Let's go speak to Kreia.
You have grown strong in the Force. I can feel its touch upon you. Do not let the higher mysteries blind you to others. Turning away from that which tempts you or causes you fear is not strength. Facing it is. I have seen you display many acts of mercy, charity in our journey. Why?
As you guys see, she's not our typical Jedi. Or Sith, as we saw from that one cutscene. I suppose it's just instinct, I suppose, to do what I think is right.
Even if it weakens those you help, even if it robs them of the strength needed to grow, you have been chased, hounded since our first meeting, and it has only made you stronger, more capable.
Okay. I mean, I don't see how the very small acts of mercy can be harmful to an individual.
Then you have learnt nothing. From such small things, from such critical points, the universe and its masses may be moved. That is why you must be careful in all that you do, and in every choice you make. Aiding them gives you strength by taking on their challenges, but weakens them. If that is your choice, then use their dependency, feed upon it, until you have exhausted them. Then leave them. And I would view the ones you travel with much the same way.
Isn't that an interesting thought, isn't it? It strengthens yourself, but it weakens others because you are helping them with their plight. Then perhaps I should be viewing you as disposable then, if that's true.
Now you are learning. Do you know why those we meet display such weakness? As I said, their lives are static, untested. It is only through interaction, through decision and choice, through confrontation, physical or mental, that the Force can grow within you. You have seen it. You have felt it within you as you have traveled with me. The growing anger, the rage, and the power it brings. Yet the power does not build without such struggle. Through small cruelties, greater ones are born.
Let's leave this for a moment. Of course, we do get more influence with Kreia and dark side points, because obviously she's more in the gray than we are, but she views things on a whole different level than we do. However, it can bring you down bits from the light, but yeah, but I can see her point of view.
Yes. Have you come with questions?
Maybe the Force.
Very well.
Let's see. I guess building a lightsaber would be cool.
The knowledge has already been imparted to you. Upon our journey, the pieces shall fall into place.
Okay then. I have other questions.
Ask, and I will answer.
Let's see. What's wrong with your eyes? I don't think we've asked that one before. We've asked this one. Do you know Atris at all? I don't think we've asked this. We haven't asked this and got a successful answer, I believe. Let's start with what's wrong with your eyes.
There is nothing wrong with my sight, if that is your question. I see all that I need, though the seeing of things flesh and blood has failed me some time ago. They were distractions only.
Perhaps there's a way to heal your sight.
There is nothing wrong with my eyes. They simply have atrophied from use. They are adequate to distinguish shapes, silhouettes. If need be, I could heal them, restore my sight, but sight can prove a distraction. When one relies on sight to perceive the world, it is like trying to stare at the galaxy through a crack in the door. But that is a lesson for another time. You must learn to see crude matter for what it is, before the veil is lifted.
Isn't that an interesting thought?
Ask, and I will answer.
So, do you know anything about the Sith who pursue us now?
Nothing more than we already know. There is danger in...
Okay.
Ask, and...
Did you know Atris at all?
Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness.
Then you've walked her path before.
I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall.
Then you partially trained Revan. You were one of his masters.
You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer.
Isn't that an interesting thought as well? Okay.
Yes? Then ask.
Let's see here. Did you know Revan?
I misspoke before, and I do not wish to choose my words unwisely again. Leave this be.
Other questions?
Ask. And
this is new. If the council cast you out, how come Atris and none of the Jedi Masters mentioned you?
ignorance. And perhaps they do not remember or care. It is of no consequence to me or to them.
You're lying.
Am I? Then perhaps you should know. There are techniques in the Force where one can cloud the memory of others, make their presence so small as to be unnoticed. And on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is much life and death where sensing such things is difficult. As I said, it is of no consequence to me or to them.
Have you used such a technique on myself?
No, but if I did, you would never know. So my words only carry as much worth as you believe them to. But perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important to me that you see me and my actions uncloaked. It is important that your judgments, whether be good or bad, stem from seeing me as I truly am.
Interesting. You know, I still think you're lying to me, and you haven't told me everything yet.
Then you are learning quickly. Distrust is an effective shield and should be carried always.
Good. I believe if you did the other one, you might have lost influence with her, and that is all we can gain from talking to her at this moment. Moving on to Atten, the final party member of our crew.
Something up?
Questions?
All right. What did you want to know?
I guess nothing. For now. Alright, looks like we have to move on. So let's see here. We have options for where we can go. We can go to Korriban, Nar Shaddaa, Onderon, or Dantooine. It's very similar to how the first game was, where you go to 4 planets, then something big is going to happen. In this instance, we're going to go to Nar Shaddaa.
Well, here we are. The Smuggler's Moon. It's the gaping maw of Nal Hutta, swallowing all the cargo and spaceport thugs the galaxy has to offer. Mandalorians, mercenaries, war veterans, and pilots from the Mandalorian Wars and the Jedi Civil War ended up on Nar Shaddaa, from all sides of the conflict. When the last war ended, there was no place left for them to go. Nar Shaddaa's a rough place and easy to get lost in. Or for someone to get lost. If we wanted to keep out of sight from the Sith for a while, you couldn't pick a better spot.
So I suppose there's a lot of ex-soldiers on Nar Shaddaa?
Yeah, some came looking for work running freight and cargo. Still, there's only so many ships to go around and so many workers, so others lend their weapons to the Hutts in the exchange. It's become a prime base for raider recruitment across the galaxy.
I know what Nal Hutta is, and I'm sure most of you do, but I'll still ask the question anyways. What is Nal Hutta?
It means glorious jewel in Huttese, but don't let that fool you. It's the central breeding grounds of the Hutts. Nar Shaddaa orbits it. Nal Hutta's as slimy as the Hutts. Lots of swamp and bloated gas. It's where those slugs reach out and grab chunks of the galaxy. Trust me, we're not going to go anywhere near the place unless we want to be washing the stink out of our clothes for the next few years.
Long story short, Nal Hutta is just the planet of where the Hutts come from. It's very swampy-esque and bog-like, and it doesn't smell very kind. You sound like you've been there before.
Anyone flying the Star Lanes has docked on Nar Shaddaa at least once. I wouldn't want to live there, and I doubt anyone does by choice.
Okay, so what's the refugee sector?
Not everyone who came to Nar Shaddaa were soldiers. A lot of worlds were destroyed by the Mandalorians and the Jedi. Left a lot of people wandering the galaxy.
And you sound like you've been there before too.
Anyone flying the...
What else? How hard do you think it would be to find a Jedi here?
It won't be easy. There's so much traffic on Nar Shaddaa. Finding anyone on the moon's surface is going to be hard. We're going to touch down in the refugee sector. There's a lot more traffic there, and it's harder for people to spot you coming in. Or find you once you arrive.
And I imagine it will be very easy to hide here as well.
Shouldn't be too hard. There's so much traffic on Nar Shaddaa, finding anyone on the moon's surface is going to be hard. We're going to touch down in the refugee sector. There's a lot more traffic there, and it's harder.
Okay. Let's see. Then I suppose we take the Ebon Hawk in for the landing.
I've plotted a course for the refugee sector, and we should touch down within the hour. Once we're down, we should finally be able to breathe easy. There's no way anyone's going to find us here.
That may not be true. It's a nice place. If a lot of you have seen the movies and haven't seen this game before, it feels very reminiscent of like a slums version of Coruscant, I suppose is the best thing to compare it to. Look at this little congregation. Ah, HK-50 droids.
Perhaps you have heard that the Jedi comes to Nar Shaddaa. While she walks upon the smuggler's moon, she is not to be harmed. Observe her, track her, but do not eclipse her movements, or I shall eclipse yours. You must, because one Jedi attracts others. It is the way of things.
Tawachosimu poindorakawa ichirendumu paramakawana abawasi. You krorenwan mapusiti nolara.
Honto no saka, jita bedwana maticha, kichu no kada mirenito. Renfiloso ni heku chupa naret atamakcha.
Nasarans, Kreia Sunkun Ratungala, Chawi Mo Jubu Inkosoracha, Bo Mababe want to Susintu Mukarata, to Esrectonatada Bear Mabar Chokto, Torenibu Inturata Sis.
Request. If Goto's vessel is no longer neutral ground, inform us so that we might initiate assassination protocols and commence firing at once.
Kavadumpe masuraku popayi botenya tachimurota kamsa javasko bosabjo rijiso karvenokso mochi kichuno karvenito venfiloso ni heku chupanaret atamakcha tahupa botenya goju chopicha gwentaba ni sochu norotoga protolalashi.
Observation. Jedi follow the self-destructive path of pacifism and tolerance. They will not attack first.
Doveri nincha yonona shitasa chuch. Doveri nincha yonona shitasa chuch. Goli rosodish. Ranta klas mobas.
So true.
Ah, the beautiful stench and decay of desperate living.
This moon, it teems with life. It is difficult to center oneself.
Word of warning, watch where you step, or you'll fall for hours.
Are we going to be okay on this landing pad?
Sure, most of the landing pads around here are unclaimed, or should be. They're pretty badly maintained, so they're not safe to land on. Well, I mean, not this one. But they all have the reputation, so we should be alright. I think.
I mean, it does look pretty exposed here.
Maybe a little, but landing here means we didn't have to transmit our ID signature. You know what trouble that always brings. In fact, while we're here, we should get those signatures changed. Wouldn't make us such a target when we enter a new system.
So we're not going to have any problems with the docking authorities then?
No, but I forgot to tell them we were landing. The refugee sector's a dead zone. No one cares too much who flies in and out of here as long as they're not carrying cargo that the exchange or the Hutts might want a piece of.
Great. So then this place is the refugee sector.
Yeah, in all its glory. Don't get your hopes up from what you see here, though. As soon as we hit the main sector, that's when the smell and the mobs can get pretty bad.
Okay then, I suppose we move on.
Alright then, let's move out. Where are we headed exactly?
It does not matter where we go. If what we seek is here, we shall come upon it in due time.
Yeah, if you want to stay on the ship and meditate some more, don't let us stop you.
I mean, if it says Kyle is here, we have to find him somehow.
Finding a Jedi, or anyone else touched by the Force here, will be difficult. The mass of people, the rush of their emotions. It makes detection difficult, but this moon does not get any smaller while we wait. This sector is as good as any place to begin our search, so let us begin.
Well, if we're gonna search a moon of a few billion inhabitants for one Jedi that even our own can't sense, might as well start as soon as possible.
Great. Then let's see where our path takes us.
Alright, if you have any questions, just ask. We should be able to leave the ship here as long as we want. No one supervises these landing pads anymore.
You there!
Uh-oh.
What's with you? Letting that piece of junk sink its struts into my landing pad!
Is there some kind of problem, sir?
The problem is, you are on my landing pad. I got another ship coming in, and unless you want that piece of junk's hull crushed flat, you better move it. Got it?
I don't see any other ship here.
That's none of your business. All you need to know is that they're gonna be firing up their quad lasers if they find your ship squatting there when they arrive.
Great, I mean, I can pay for the space and your time. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, right now all I'm hearing is talk. How much you offering?
I suppose 50 credits ought to be a fair amount.
Done! Pleasure doing business with you. I got some visitors booked for your space, but I'm sure the two of you can work it out when they arrive.
Thank you. Great. Let's bring Bayo for a second, and then we'll bring T3. In fact,
Yeah?
Would you stop being dead? Why are you dead?
Let's go.
Stop playing dead. Thank you.
Let's go.
Let's level T3 up first. Up your dexterity, which is handy. And the rest of your abilities. Okay. Master toughness for you. Always a good thing. And then, from here, either I'm thinking weapon, focus, blaster, pistol, or dual strike or 2-weapon fighting. I'm guessing we do this one, and then we'll go into 2-weapon fighting, I think, is what we'll do for him. Good. So he's looking pretty good here, and I'm liking that. But what we're actually going to do, before we end the episode, we're actually going to go back in our ship. For one particular reason. And you'll soon see why. Because we got the cutscene that Darth Nihilus showed up in Visas, there may be a surprise laying for us here. What exactly have you done to the crew here? Nobody knows you're here. Oh, that's different. The lightsaber looks all messed up, but that's irrelevant. Let me do that, and I'm just gonna... Oh my goodness, that really hurt. Pain is painful. I'm just gonna do this. Pop the Achani shield, that way you cannot... Great, that looks awesome. Therefore, you cannot harm me. Rude. Stop. Hello, T3. Are you gonna help or what?
My lightsaber. You've destroyed it. I yield, Master. It is as I heard through the Force. My life for yours.
I will not kill you.
You must. The alternative is only another death. And I would rather die by your hands.
Look, I do not kill helpless opponents that stand before me.
I have nothing to offer you. Your strength is superior. It is as I felt.
Now I've seen everything. This woman, she's a Miraluka. I didn't think any were left in this part of the galaxy.
What is a Maraluka?
Yeah, they're a pretty secretive race. I heard that some of their kind become Jedi, but a Sith? That's a new one. I'm not sure how you'd go about killing one. It'd be tricky.
How rare exactly is their kind?
I heard they had a colony on the Midrim, almost halfway between Onderon and Dantooine. Then, it wasn't there anymore. The whole planet was wiped out. Nothing left alive. No one knows why.
I'm imagining she knows.
Well, it was a planet of her people. If they see through the Force, who knows? If they're all Force sensitive, maybe they all saw something through the Force that we can't see, and they left before it happened. Or maybe it killed them.
They all see through the Force.
They claim to see on a higher plane than we do. You know, the whole Force thing makes me nervous.
Is she going to be alright?
Well, some of her wounds are pretty bad. Looks like she was already carrying her share of scars, though. I think she'll recover, yeah.
Good. If her condition changes, let me know. I didn't want to kill her. She has her uses. So from that, we've got her influence, light side points, and a lightsaber emitter fixture. And now I believe we only need one lightsaber part left, and then we are set, if I am correct.
Yes, General?
Do I have all the lightsaber parts I need?
Let me see what you have. No, you're still missing a lens. Something else I can help you with?
So we're close. We need a lens. We're not exactly done with today's episode yet because we still have to talk to Visas and in turn maybe talk to Kreia again about Visas.
My life for yours.
Because it does make sense to get all the conversations with the crew out of the way first before we end the episode. Otherwise it kind of just leaves it off on a weird note, you know what I'm saying? Are you alright?
I am able to serve. If we enter battle, I will fight and die alongside you.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you were alright. Physically, mentally, you know, that kind of thing.
I have not heard that question in some time. My flesh is healed, if that's the answer you seek.
Look, and maybe I noticed well, you have scars, and, who exactly hurt you?
The scars are many and the causes equally so. It is of no importance.
Okay then, I suppose I should begin with, who sent you?
I serve my master. I am an emissary, a scout. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force, but was unaware of its nature, of you. The disturbance is not something one feels from a living thing. There is little my master does not know, and that you eluded his sight for so long is significant. But I do not know why.
Okay then. So, where exactly could I find your master when the time comes?
You cannot. His vessel roams the borders of known space, and even I do not know where he travels. Until he calls for me. Even if I could lead you to my master, I cannot permit you to find him until you are ready.
Ready?
If I bring you before my master, untested, without your potential realized, then you will be lost to me, and I cannot allow that to happen. It would be as if one brought fire to a paradise valley, shattered a cavern of rare crystal, or blinded a painter.
Well, my life is not as important as you think. And your master threatens more than just myself.
I cannot, I will not. I would die first, and gladly, to preserve you, untouched, unharmed. Now that I have found you, I cannot sacrifice what I have found.
If he is behind what has befallen all of the Jedi, then he must be stopped. If not now, then eventually.
You will meet my master. It is inevitable. I have seen it. And when you stand before him and realize what you face, you must be prepared. Until then, I must protect you, help you, until you are ready.
Exactly why are you doing this for me when you boarded my ship no longer than 5 minutes ago you attacked me?
There's a greatness in you. A greatness that does not stem from the Force. It stems from who you are. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope for us all. But if you seek to survive, then you must understand why this is so.
Well, if your master had trouble detecting me, how were you able to do it in the first place?
There is much I see my master cannot. I fear it is because of my nature, the nature of my race. My people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off stars, the growth of life, all things touched by the Force.
So, where are your people and your world now?
It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction.
Okay then. How did your master destroy your homeworld to kill on such a scale it would be thought impossible?
It was not a thing done with machines or weapons. The Force is far more terrible, and it touches more lives than any machine can hope to slay. For everyone that feels the Force, strongly, deeply, each one feels and perceives it in their own way. You have strengths, whether you know it or not. And my master has his. His power is great, and it comes from hunger. He is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh. And in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger. And those who feel the Force strongly are beacons to his hunger. My people, my planet, would have been attacked in time. It was inevitable. Yet we could do nothing about it.
Long story short, Darth Nihilus and what he is driven by is his hunger of the Force. And because he is as strong as he is, and he can literally devour the Force out of living beings, anything. And when he went to her planet of Qatar, he saw that there was Force sensitivities there. And Force sensitivity in other beings is much more stronger than it is in just like the plant life or the animals. And it's what your Force sensitivity is. If for like Jedi, for example, they have much more of it than a normal person does. And since her whole entire race is essentially a relatively strong Force sensitive race, it made him water essentially at the mouth, and he essentially ate the Force and took the Force from that planet, every bit of life on that planet, and consumed it upon himself. And it is slowly destroying him because he is an ever consistent being that just hungers for more of the Force and consuming all that the Force is. So yeah, that's the short side of it. Anyways, why did your master destroy Qatar, even though I just said it?
The Jedi, the last council of the Jedi, came to our world to meet in secret. They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And Qatar, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me.
Also, it goes without saying, when the Force is taken out of the things as well, it kills whatever it is left from. So, by taking the Force out of living beings, plant life, etc., you're essentially murdering everybody and everything in your path. Why did the Jedi meet on Qatar?
They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat.
He had attacked because the Jedi had gone there.
He cannot deny his hunger for long. And any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence.
I think I might have asked this, I'm not sure.
They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat.
Gotcha. Yes, I did ask that already. We'll ask for other questions, but we'll do this at this moment.
Forgive me, but before you go, I must ask. Why do you do this? Why do you seek to help me? Teach me?
Well, maybe it's because I believe you can be saved and turned back towards the light.
You must not do this. I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me.
You know, to help another is not exactly weakness. However, Kreia may say it does. it also can be a form of strength to both the individuals as well.
So you say. But it is not something I have observed or seen.
What exactly do you mean?
I remember little of my homeworld before I entered my master's service. It is not as it was. There is little left of such memories. Or the planet itself.
Well, tell me of your homeworld.
It is not a subject which I have spoken of.
We already asked this. Yeah, as you see, there's a lot of circles you can take that leads back to the same kind of pathing. One thing I really love about Visas is very easy to gain influence with her, and it's very easy light side points. As you see, our light side skyrockets with her as you talk to her, if you pick the light side pathways. If you do the same with Kreia, you can also potentially go to the light side. However, you will lose influence with Kreia, most likely.
My life for yours.
I have questions for you.
I will answer what I can, but my answers may prove useless to you.
Perhaps. Tell me, was your master the one sent to Paragus?
I am not familiar with the place you speak of. My master has not entered Republic space for some time, but there are others who may move more freely, who may have been responsible for such an act of destruction.
Such as?
There are many factions within the Sith, all seeking to take what little remains in the wake of the Jedi Civil War. Where one moves, it is not always known to the others. But their purpose is the same. The death of all Jedi, everywhere. They believe you are the last of the Jedi, and their hatred of the Jedi unites them. All their eyes are upon you, and it is a terrible, quiet darkness that pursues you.
I have other questions.
I will answer what I can.
This is more or less the same thing. Maybe we'll get a different outcome.
My master did not cause the end of the planet you speak of. There are many factions where one moves, they believe you are...
Blah, blah, blah.
I will answer what I can.
You know, I've heard your species is blind. How are you able to see?
My people once had the power to perceive events, to see through the Force. That sight may manifest itself in many ways, and at times, I may affect the abilities of others to see as well.
You sound as if that sight has been lost to you.
My sight has been damaged. What I have taught you, it is not the full extent of the perceptions of my people.
Visas has a limited ability to see the Force. She has Force sight in first-person mode, and can also use it as a Force power by spending Force points.
My master, when he showed me my world, showed it to me as it is. It hurt. And since that moment, it has been difficult to perceive the Force as I once did. But after traveling with you, I feel that perhaps there was a gift in it, hidden beneath the pain.
Of course, the game is assuming you've been traveling with Visas for a while now, and trying to talk to her here and there, but we're doing it all at once, essentially. When one endures, it gives hope to others and themselves.
Only when one suffers do certain truths become evident, both of the galaxy and of the self. And I feel you are an example of this.
I believe that's it. See? More light side points.
My life for you.
I
will answer what I...
Can she teach us to see through the Force? She cannot. Okay. I know this has been a really long episode, and we are almost done. However, we are going to speak to Kreia. I will take a look at the workbench as well to give Kreia something. Not Kreia. Visas something. I probably will do that off camera, however. We shall see. Hello, Kreia. What do you think about Visas?
You have befriended the seer?
How do you think she found us?
Her species does not see as we do. They perceive the galaxy through the Force, and it is how she found you. It is a rare gift squandered on her people. The Sith carry the battle to you, and you spare them. And as we travel, the empty places of this ship are filled. I hope your thoughts in this matter are clear. If you take her on as a servant, know that the Sith meet their end at the hands of their apprentices. It is not something I would wish to happen to you. This one you have saved has other masters. Though blind, she has ties to darkness. Her presence here is a threat to us, to you. Do not underestimate her or her loyalty.
Let's see here. Okay, perhaps. Because we gotta be very careful with our words with Kreia, just because the way Kreia is. And the Last Jedi. I wonder was a lightsaber. I mean, there's ties to her master, perhaps, and I intend to follow that bond to its source when the opportunity presents itself.
Then you are learning.
Good. Let's see here. It's very hard to choose for her sometimes, I swear. Sometimes you think one is the right option, and then she ends up being really pissed at you. Well, I wouldn't say pissed, but she looks at you disappointingly. Because she obviously has a lot of greatness rided in upon our, how do I word this? She relies on us immensely to the point where she has very high hopes for us, for something. That's something we don't know yet, but there is something. Atton said her planet was wiped out. That was the only colony of her people in this sector of the galaxy.
Did he? And what do you make of that?
Well, if her people all see through the Force, then maybe someone wanted to blind them.
The Mandalorians were right to respect you on the field of battle. The Jedi are gone, vanished. Now, an entire planet of Force sensitives wiped clean of life. And now this slice of the galaxy is blind. It is no coincidence. The two events are tied.
It's interesting. Someone wants this sector of the galaxy blind to the Force. So then they can move freely, or strike without warning.
I fear you are right. And I fear it may prove more than that. War is a hunger. And there are spirits in the galaxy whose hunger is never satisfied. But there is little to be done about it now. Watch the seer carefully. She may reveal more.
Good. I shall be going then. Ah, yes.
Yes?
That might unlock more answers for her. Let's see here. Let's ask one of the older questions. Do you know anything about the Sith who pursue us?
I know of them, yes.
Yes!
And how much like beasts they had become. Combined, united against the Jedi, they command legions of Sith. But above these legions, there are 3 who must be stopped. As long as any one of them lives, then we, and all life, are doomed. One bathes in pain, feeds on it for sustenance. The other has ceased being a living being, so consumed by hunger that he has forgotten his own flesh. And the last is a creature of betrayals, for without such things there is no hope.
So the one who bathes in pain is Sion.
Yes, of pain he has learned much. Of knowledge, of teaching, he knows nothing. Like the others, he was spawned by the horrors of the Mandalorian Wars. He exists solely to spread his pain to all Jedi everywhere.
Is the one consumed by hunger Visas' master? I would know more of him.
He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the Dark Lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. Not yet. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not.
He is no longer a man?
One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do, as most of us do. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You will have to meet him in battle. You must be prepared to sacrifice the Blinded One. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master.
Obviously, if we pick this one, Kreia will be pissed. Well, then perhaps I can convince her to sacrifice herself. That would be a twin victory, I would think.
If you have such power, then I would make use of it. There is no need to dirty your hands when you can convince another to drive a blade into their own heart.
It's pretty ruthless. And I thought I was cold.
Oh, you have promise. But wait until you have more years fall upon you, and you will see what a shell your heart will become.
It's very interesting. How did he destroy her homeworld?
It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effects firsthand.
And he used that to kill an entire planet?
Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. It will sustain him for a time.
I don't understand how he hasn't conquered the galaxy with that kind of power.
Because it is not something that can ever truly be controlled, and it leaves nothing to conquer in its wake. And it rules him, not the other way around. It has its own will, its own instincts.
Do you have any idea why he spared her?
Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am bound to you. If so, there may be a death served by hers. You must be prepared to sacrifice the Blinded One. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need.
Yes, you've mentioned. We'll go here for a moment. Thanks, Kreia, for the dark side that I don't really want.
Have you?
But we got influence.
Ask.
Good. Let's see here. There's so many options. What do you know of Visas' master?
He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, he spared the
Yeah, you've mentioned. You mentioned. Okay, other questions? When Visas attacked, she did something to my eyesight.
She did nothing to your eyes that was not already there. She has forced this upon you, but such crude methods are the markings of the Sith. Close your eyes.
Well, alright.
Feel this ship around you. The welding of the droid as it goes about its work.
Hey! T3 has a stock motivator.
Now, stretch out. Hear the rumble of hyperspace, the hum of the hyperdrive.
Hey, I can hear a catch in it. It's not fully fixed.
Ignore distractions and focus on my voice. The breathing of the Blinded One as she meditates in the dark. Now, listen deeper, past her breathing, and listen.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Qatar, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death, and
I heard her thoughts.
You are strong indeed. What you heard were surface thoughts only, but it is something that masters have trained for years and never learned.
Can I do that whenever I desire?
That is not the real question you should ask. Is such listening enough to perceive the world around you? It is not, because to listen to the thoughts of another is much like attempting to see the universe only with your eyes. It is equally limiting. Now leave me be. I must rest.
You have gained +1 to awareness and recovered some of your connection to the Force, aka more Force points. Which is nice. And more influence as well. This is what we desire here. And this has become a very long episode. Could have become a twofer even, but
Yes?
hope you guys are
Have
enjoying
you
it.
come with questions?
Yep.
Ask.
Let's see, we already know the answer to this. There's no interest at all. We asked that. So there's this one. There's this one, I believe. But I think we already got that answer. Okay. Did you know Revan?
Perhaps. I think it is fair to say that few did.
Were you the one who taught him?
He came to me, yes. Both before and after. Before Revan knew himself. And after, in the times when Revan was coming to his own and learning he was more than he had been told. At one time, Revan was my Padawan, in times past, long ago. But Revan, when he had learned all he could, had other masters, that fool Jar and other Jedi on other planets. He learned from each, but in the end, he turned back to me. When he realized there was nothing more to be learned from the Jedi except how one could leave them forever.
Tell me, what was he like as a student?
Revan was power. It was like staring into the heart of the Force. Even then you could see the Jedi he would slay etched on his soul.
And what do you see when you look at myself?
You are different. When I look at you, it is like staring at the death of the Force.
It's quite the opposite, isn't it? Tell me, what else do you know of him?
I know more, but it may not be enough for the answers you seek.
Where did he come from?
Revan had a mother and father, parents, ancestors, like all Jedi do. And when he awakened to his potential, I was there to see it. But where he was born, where he came from, I do not know, any more than I know where he walks now. Some said that Revan was born in the outer regions, beyond the Rim, and that's what called to him during the Mandalorian Wars. And after, it was the call of home.
What else do you know of Revan?
I know more.
Do you know what caused him to fall, to turn on the Republic?
Fall? Ah, already you presume much. You were there at Malachor. Revan's choices were always his own. It was not teaching or circumstance or example, it was him.
No, but what made him turn to the dark side, become a Sith Lord? Because there was... I mean, it was stressful there, but there was nothing there that would have done it. He was always strong.
Is that what he was? Or was he always true to himself, no matter what personality he wore? And there is something that the Council may never understand, that perhaps Revan never fell. The difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anyone knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps he became the Dark Lord out of necessity, to prevent a greater evil. I do not believe the Jedi Council changed Revan as they claimed. They merely stripped away the surface and allowed the true self to emerge again, someone who was willing to wage war to save others. But that is my belief, since I knew Revan from long ago, as a master knows their apprentice.
In retrospect, she's mostly right. So, Revan and Malak, after the Mandalorian Wars, they set out to go seek the Starforge. And by doing that, they came across the Outer Rims. I can't remember the exact order of how it went down, of course, but they went to the Outer Rim and they met their current Emperor of the Sith's time, the true Sith. And they were beyond the known galaxy at that time. And when they got there, they were undercover. They were trying to figure out this evil because this evil was greater than anything that they have felt before. When they went to go confront him, this emperor twisted their minds into becoming his slaves, his servants. He twisted them into the dark side with the Force, and he has a very similar Force power, just like Darth Nihilus does, where he hungers for the Force as well. However, he has control over it, which is a very scary and terrible thing. And he as he turned them to the dark side, he brainwashed them. He actually set them right back down to the known galaxy as Sith Lords, to go and conquer the Republic and to wage war. But what he didn't realize was Revan was almost completely under his control, and he knew to a certain point, but he didn't know to what extent, of like how much he was brainwashed. He didn't even remember that the Emperor even existed. Like, he couldn't even remember the events because they were wiped from memory. Like, they were wiped from his memory clean. So, as he was doing that, Malik was totally under the control. He had no say in the matter whatsoever. Of course, we know the story. Malik turned on Revan. Revan went back to the light side. He saved the galaxy from Malik. However, they're trying to rebuild the Republic now, but later on, there's going to be something out there. And currently in this time, where we are standing right here with Kreia, that they're gathering a military force, getting ready to attack the known galaxy, and to wipe it clean, the whole slate clean. Not only is that Emperor affected Revan and Malik, he affected the Mandalorians. He was the sole reason that the Mandalorians went to war with the Republic, to weaken the state of the Republic and the Jedi, so that he could just fucking steamroll everybody in his way. And that's a little something into more of this known galaxy story. Do you know anything else?
I know more.
You do not.
Ask.
What else do we have before we figure out that you have nothing else? We've asked this, I believe.
Ignorance.
Yep, okay.
Ask.
Is there one more? Maybe this one. I thought more about the destruction of Visas' homeworld. And we've asked this. Great. Boom.
Yes.
Is there anything else? We'll do one last check with her. She has so many things that you could ask about her, but I think that's everything to the extent. We'll also check the force options as well. Bond. The site. Ooh, the site. We'll ask about that. Oh, and this as well. Wow, we have so much to go through in this one episode. I didn't think it would take this long, truth be told. Before, when you taught me to listen, I would wish to continue that lesson right now, if we have time. We don't, but we're gonna make it happen anyway.
Very well. Sit with me. You have brushed the surface thoughts of another. It is a start. Calm yourself. This time, silence your own thoughts. Keep them still. Imagine the waters of the room of 1,000 fountains, each stream suddenly falling silent and still. Imagine the ice of Telos, cold and smooth as it gathers upon the plateau. Now, stretch out. Feel the ship around you. Strip away the metal and see the souls and minds of those that fill its corridors with more thoughts and dreams and worries than can fill the space of this ship.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Qatar, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death, and...
Switch the face of the +1 -1 card. The totals are 9, 10. Switch the face of the +2 -2 card. The total is 8, 11. Switch. Your command echoes still, General, and I obey, as I did at Malachor.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Qatar,
Switch the face of the +1
I shall
-1
not
card.
fear,
The totals are 9, 10.
for in fear
Switch the face of the +2
lies
-2
death.
card.
still,
The
General,
total is 8,
and I
11.
obey,
Switch.
as I did at Malachor.
The sound in the background. What is it?
Not now. Focus on my voice.
Malachor.
Now do you hear me? Truly hear me?
I hear you. This is incredible.
You have taken the first steps on a much longer road, exile.
And what about T3?
The droid cannot be read in such a way. As for the alien who served with you in the war, its thoughts are more difficult, requiring many translations in meaning. Often it is better to read their impulses and images than their spoken thoughts. That is why he is deaf to you. I have found his impulses are cold, like a dead weight. His thoughts are black.
Isn't that an interesting thought as well? Of course, that would explain why I heard nothing from him.
Such is the case with primitive minds. It is of no matter.
Isn't that an interesting thought about Beodur? Perhaps there is a special bond between the two of us, as well as everybody else on this ship with her. There was also something wrong with Atten's thoughts.
Of course there was. It is because Atten was not playing Pazak, yet he counts cards in his head. At times, he will list off engine sequencers, memorize the hyperspace routes on the other side of the galaxy, count the ticking in the power couplings, even though they are fixed. At other times, he will imagine certain base lusts, certain indignities. It may be Atten is far cleverer than he feigns to be. Or perhaps he is simply a fool.
Never mind, I'll be going now. So yeah, more force points because of that.
Yes, have... Very well.
Oh my goodness, so many things. So many things, guys. I should have made this 2 episodes. So before, when I heard the thoughts of my companions, I heard something like, an echo?
Ah, I had wondered if... But your powers are strong indeed. Now is not the time to speak of this. Wait until you have more of the galaxy within you, and we shall speak again.
That's at level 15.
Every step on our journey shall bring with it discoveries. With persistence, you shall grow in the Force. And for every planet we reach, all that we touch with our presence, you shall grow, for you will have no choice.
AKA, she's telling us we need to gain more experience, become level 15, and she will grant us one of the 3 subclasses we can acquire.
Yes. Very well.
Let's see, you've taught me of sight. Is there anything else you can teach me from it?
There is nothing more that I can teach you now. Wait until you have grown in the Force, and we shall see what more knowledge I can impart.
Great. Phew! We thought we were done. We have one question to ask Atten. Sorry, guys. But I'm sure you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it immensely. I love this game. It's very good.
I don't know what it is, but you look different.
Thanks.
It's hard to explain, but it's good to see.
You know, it feels as if I'm more in touch with the Force than I have ever been.
It shows. It's kind of inspiring, to be honest. Anyway, just wanted to mention it. I think the others have noticed it too.
I have some questions for you.
All right. What did you want to know?
Oh, apparently I don't. Do I not?
Something up?
Ah, here we are. Atten, why do you play Pazak in your head?
Passes the time. It's better than listing off engine sequencers, memorizing hyperspace routes, or counting ticks in the power couplings.
That doesn't really answer my question, I suppose. Well, anyway, there's no ticks in the power couplings. It's all fixed, or it's supposed to be.
Of course it's fixed. And that's why you should count the ticking in the power coupling, too.
That doesn't answer my question. Don't look at me, freak!
Why do I play Pazak? Alright, I'll show you.
Okay. If it's a friendly game, sure.
Good match. Now, what are you thinking about right now?
Well, I was trying to compute the totals to 20.
Right. And that's why I play Pazak in my head. Because if you don't, you've left the door open, and anyone could walk right in.
What do you have to hide?
Nothing. I'm just someone who plays Pazak in his head. But while I'm doing that, it's a lot harder for someone to walk in.
Is that something you can train me to do?
No. I can only teach you to play Pazak. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay then. Then I want to learn to play Pazak.
Good. Now you understand. Alright, I'll deal then. If you're ever fighting someone who has the power over your mind, whether light or dark, play Pazak. Start listing hyperspace routes, recite engine sequencers, and when they try to use their powers on you, suddenly it's not as easy as they thought. Because you'll be right here with me, playing Pazak, where they can't reach you.
Atten has taught you to play Pazak in your head as a way of resisting mental domination. You have gained a permanent +1 to your willpower saves. Thank you, Atten. And now with that, we will be ending today's massively long episode of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. I hope you guys all enjoyed this big episode of getting to know the crew even further than we have before, and introducing a new companion to our group today as well. And as well as Kreia's massively long lesson lectures. But they were good. I will do the workbench off screen with Visas' stuff, and then we will go on planet. There will be a couple things on the next episode I will try to bone rush to get to reach certain parameters for other characters, to get perhaps Bayodir's subclass and Atten's subclass. So we will try to do those first, and I have to try to avoid a certain encounter that can possibly happen as well, because you need it for a different companion later on. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this big episode of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, feel free to leave that like, leave a comment, tell me what you guys think of today's episode, of course, other than it was long. I know it was long. And if you're new to my channel, or have been watching me for a little while, and you haven't done so as of yet, and you are liking what you see here, feel free to subscribe to me, MadSquash924, over there on YouTube, where my channel is just right there. And don't forget to ring the bell to get notified of my latest videos. I also have the whole Let's Play of the entire first game as well, if you're interested in that one as well. And I'll see you guys all next time on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Goodbye, everybody.